Okay, hi there. This is Kim Willis, and welcome to my presentation that I've got for you tonight, or maybe it's the morning, wherever you are in the world. Confessions of a Digital Nomad. All right. Now, I'm not a techie type of guy, even though I use the internet, I leverage the internet to create an income stream. And tonight, I am running the control panel as well as delivering the talk. So I hope that goes well. All right, so this is the topic, Confessions of a Digital Nomad. And the reason why I decided to create this little format for you is that I've had a lot of people over the last couple of years, they say things to me like, wow, I wish I could do what you're doing, or how are you doing it? You know, what are some tips that you can give me? Because I'd like to kind of follow in your footsteps. And so I thought, well, maybe I should create a bit of a training, a bit of a webinar presentation, and just tell people basically what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And if you want to take it up and become a digital nomad like me, you can do that. Of course, you don't need to travel to other countries to be a digital nomad. You can stay in your own country and do it. But you've got the options. That's the thing. And you need to have those options, lots of different options. And if you've got an income stream or a way of funding it, investments, whatever, well, you can do what I'm doing. No doubt about it. You can do it. It just requires intent. You need to have that kind of intent. And you have maybe an interest in exploring and seeing different parts of your country or different parts of the world. So without any further ado, just before I get started on the presentation, there's a little hand icon. Can you just let me know that you can see me, you can hear me? Just, yeah, good, thank you, that's great. Now, I will allocate space for questions, but at the end, all right? So just, you know, type in your questions and I will address those at the end. The other point is that I've got a bonus for you. I'm not selling any products or anything like that, not on this presentation, but there will be a kind of an offer, and I've got a real good value thing. It's worth $250. And I'll tell you about it right at the end of the presentation. All right, so let me get started. Let's get into the second slide here. It'll be a little bit formal to start with, but then I'm going to pivot off from there and it'll just be more like a free flow conversation, okay? So the first question I've got for you is this. Ever think to yourself that you'd love to hop on a plane and go to a foreign country and just lose yourself for a year or two, or maybe even shorter period than that, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Well, lots and lots of people, increasing numbers of people are doing this, and they're thinking about doing it because they hear about other people that are doing it. In a sense, we live in a borderless world now. Of course, in the physical world, it is not borderless, but with the internet, it gives us so many options, and the internet doesn't really know any borders, does it? So we can do this stuff, and certainly in 2013, that's where I was. I was thinking about this. In fact, I'd had a bit of a travel bug it started a couple of years before, because I hadn't been away. I hadn't been to any country for, I think it was about 24 years. My passport had lapsed. I was just basically bringing up a family, and in the last 5 to 10 years, being involved with the management of a very kind of grave situation with my late wife. 2011, just fast forward, she passed, and there was a lot of grieving and all the rest of it. But you know, I still had that thought, well, be great to be able to do some travel. Great to do some travel. And now that my kids have grown up, Damien and Nathan, they've grown up, maybe I'll be able to do that. I still had a mum that I was taking care of, an elderly mum, and 2013 she also passed. Okay, she passed away in 2013, and about a couple of months, I think it was, after that, that coincided with the fact that my two sons told me that they wanted to do some travel and they were going to start traveling in Southeast Asia, because I'm from Australia, as are they. And, you know, I'd lost my wife, I'd lost my mum, and now I was going to lose my boys. So I thought, to heck with it. I've stayed put in Brisbane for more than 20 years, 24, 25 years. I'm going to do this now before I get any older. And that's what I did. I just booked a flight and I jumped on a plane. I was in a bit of a stalemate. I was fed up, bored and restless, and I was a little bit sad. So I wanted to perhaps just escape for a little while so that I could kind of heal myself, if you know what I mean. So I booked a flight, and a couple of weeks later, my adventure started. And I went to Singapore first, and then I went to the Philippines. So I was only in Singapore for a few days, and then I went to the Philippines, and I stayed there for 6 months. And then from there, I went to Vietnam, and I was there for 9 months. Had a great time in Vietnam. And then in February of this year, I caught another plane. Actually, I caught a bus. I caught a bus from Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City, and I headed down to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, because I'd taken a little holiday there a few months prior just to check it out, and I kind of liked it. It's not for everybody. It's what a friend of mine, Ryan Bidoff, says. It's a gritty city. He likes it, but he said it's very gritty in more ways than one. You know, it's literally it's gritty, and metaphorically it's gritty. You know, it's there is a bit of dirt flying around here, particularly in the dry season. Right now we're in the rainy season, but I'm talking to you from Phnom Penh, Cambodia right now, and I had a wonderful time. My tour of duty, if you like, ends here in a few months, and I'm just trying to decide what I'm going to do after that. But I'm going to, for Christmas, I'm heading off to Thailand for Christmas to be with my family. So we're meeting there, and we're meeting in one of the nicest parts of Thailand, and I'm really looking forward to it, because I haven't actually been to this town before, but I've heard a lot about it. A lot of expats there, a lot of digital nomads there. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of history. As I said, I've already given you this, but I'll just reiterate. I've lived in the Philippines, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Also visited, this is just in the last couple of years, I visited Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, US, Mexico. Welcome to the presentation, Confessions of a Digital Nomad. And it's for you if you're jaded, bored, restless, bit fed up the way I was. Maybe you're fed up with the 9-to-5 grind and you want out like yesterday. Or perhaps you're retired and asking the question, is that all there is? Isn't there more to life than just going through the motions of living? Possibly you have a business and it's going nowhere fast and you just like to do something radically different for a change. Above all, you're looking for adventure. Yes, you're looking for fun, new experiences. Why not? Life's too short. Kim Willis, that's me. You may see the name Damien popping up there. That's my son. It's definitely not Damien. It is me. And Damien's a laptop lifestyler as well. He's based in South Korea, in Seoul, the capital city there. And we work closely together on a number of different projects. So we communicate virtually, well, every day, really. We communicate every day via Skype. These wonderful tools have made the world smaller, and it enables people like us to travel, see new countries, explore different cultures, and still do business. Now, on this presentation, I'm going to cover the following topics. Which country for you? Live cheap or live like a king? The options. Are you a butterfly or a slug? Do you stay put in one country, or do you immerse yourself and immerse yourself into the local culture for months or years? Or do you trip around like a butterfly? Name your poison. We'll look at that. The downside of the 4-hour work week. Now, you may not have heard of it, but a lot of people have. It's been a huge seller. 4-hour work week. It's booked by a guy called Tim Ferris. You may have read Tim Ferris's book, bestseller, huge seller. I don't know, he sold millions of copies of this book, and he talks about the 4-hour work week, and it's about maximizing income and minimizing time involvement and spending the rest of the time enjoying yourself. It's quite a seductive pitch, isn't it? And but there is a downside, and I will talk about that downside as somebody who has actually been walking the talk and been living the dream, if you like, for several years. I'm also going to talk about taxations, visas, and bureaucrats, to bribe or not to bribe. Look, I wrote this one a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but there's a certain amount of truth to it as well, so we'll talk about that. Health and medical, how to minimize the risks. Know yourself. This is a really important one. Some expats fall into some extremely bad habits. Learn how to avoid the seductions and the temptations of life in other countries. Okay. Staying connected even if you're a long way from home. So they're the essential topics that I'm going to cover. Oh, there is one more. Leverage your skill. I know this is a big one for many of you, and some of you, that's the primary reason why you're here. And we're going to talk about how to leverage a skill, how to create different income streams. You already have a skill or a passion or an interest, learn how to leverage it into an online income stream. So I'm going to talk about that topic and related income generation topics as well, because that is important. How are you going to fund this wonderful lifestyle adventure? Whoops, what happened there? But first, let me share some of my global nomad experiences. Over the last couple of years, I've dined at some great restaurants. I've eaten some favorite foods. I've done all sorts of things. Now, you may think that because I'm in Asia, all I eat is Asian food. That is not the case. I only eat Asian food once or twice a week. The rest of the time, I'm a bit of a Europhile, particularly a Francophile. Also like Italian food, Moroccan food, Spanish food, etc. So I continue to eat those foods. Sure, I will eat some of the local Asian food as well. It's super cheap, no question about it, and it is tasty. There's no doubt about it. But I still like the European food. So go to restaurants, it'll tend to have a Euro focus. And so I want to dispel the myth that all you're going to be doing is eating. If you go to Asia or Latin America or something like that, all you're going to be doing is eating the local foods. I've also had plenty of time for the gym, playing my guitar and just horsing around like an idiot. In fact, I only started going to the gym for the first time this year in Phnom Penh. I've thought about going to the gym in the past, but I call myself Mr. Puniverse, and I just thought, well, going to the gym, people are going to laugh at me. All these buff guys showing off their pecs, etc. I thought, nah. But in Phnom Penh, the first apartment that I went into, it was a luxury apartment, and they had this fantastic gym, and you can see me there working out, trying to work out, pretending I'm working out, perhaps. And the good thing about this gym is it was always empty. I was the only one there. I have this kind of serious persona, but there's this other side that people are often shocked when they see me, particularly after a glass of wine. I'm not a big drinker, but having time with the family is also great. Of course, we all have time with our family, but our families, but to do it in exotic locations is even better. So this pic here is me with my two sons in top of the world, Sky Bar in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. This one here, I think, was taken in Singapore with my sons. Over here, the one on the right, that's Christmas Day last year, 2014, with my sons and their girlfriend in a nice French restaurant in Ho Chi Minh City. Had a great time, wonderful experience. Photo there on the left is me at the beach at sunset in Kota Kinabalu 2 months ago. I was only there for a week. It was purely a holiday. I wasn't living there. But this photo is an earlier photo from a couple of years ago. I was just come back from Mexico with my son, Damien, and we hired a Mustang for the time that we were in LA, and because he wanted an open top car, he wanted a Mustang, and he drove it for the entire period, right? So I never got behind the driver's seat. So he drove. I was happy for that because it's left-hand drive. I wasn't comfortable, so that was fine. This is a view from the balcony at the Sheraton in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. That was another conference that we went to. That was great too. So look, had plenty of adventure. I said at the outset that I've lived 6 months in the Philippines, and during that period, it was just after Christmas, 2013, we headed down to, or I was headed north actually, to Baguio City. Now, I'd heard this place is in the hills. I just didn't anticipate how cold it was. So fortunately, I got hold of a pullover. I bought one, and I needed it. It's freezing, absolutely freezing, which is not typical for the Philippines. The Philippines is a hot country. It's tropical. But you get up into Baguio City, and it is cold. It is seriously cold, I'm telling you. They don't get snow, but they often, particularly during their kind of winter, they get a serious frost. And yeah, even the water in the pipes will freeze up. Yeah, so that's it. Because it was last minute, couldn't get into a decent hotel for this little sojourn to Baguio City, so we had to take what was available, and it was an absolute dump. It was a dive, right? And it didn't have the tap in the bathroom wasn't working, so I had to get, and there wasn't any hot water either. That was another major problem, particularly when it was so cold. And so I had to get some water from the little kitchenette to have a shave the next morning, and that was me having a shave. Crazy stuff. All right. Also, as I've indicated, I do go to conferences to brush up my skills and to reinvigorate myself, get my motivation going. I meet some great people. There's a guy there, John Chow. He's a master blogger, very famous guy in the internet space, that's for sure. Certainly in the blogging space, he's a blog maven, and he's probably got the #1 private, that is non-corporate, private business blog in the world in terms of traffic and influence, etc. That's me with John. In fact, he interviewed me very briefly whilst I was there. That was in Malaysia, just as I said, 2 months ago. This couple here on the right-hand side, 2 Indian people, they're crazy. They went water skiing. Unfortunately, if you can imagine them water skiing, the lady on the right there, she's like 4'6". And unfortunately, I didn't see it, and I wasn't able to get a photo, which I regret. I just really wanted to see that. This is me on the left there, down the bottom. That's me with Mike Koenigs, another great internet marketer, 7-figure earner. There's a photo of Matt Lloyd, who was at one of these conferences, 8-figure earner. Another conference, that's me on the right bottom there. That's me with Mark Hoverson, another great guy, 8-figure earner. I think it's 8, maybe it's 7, doesn't matter. We're all making good money, let's put it that way. I also want to visit Burma, Laos, and other countries like that. Further afield, my to-do list includes, well, I want to go back to France, of course. Haven't been there for a long time. Italy, Spain, UK, USA again, Mexico, Canada. Heard that's very nice, a bit cold. Cuba, now that Cuba's opening up, that's very interesting, and Brazil. Always wanted to go to Brazil. There's probably some other countries there that I haven't mentioned. Even New Zealand I'm interested in now. So, look, I'm a travel junkie with no fixed place of abode. I travel, I learn, I earn, and yeah, that's it. I travel, and I love it. If you've ever thought of checking out of your current life for a while, then, well, you love this webinar. And at this point, let me make one thing clear. I'm not a backpacker. I don't live in a hovel. I don't budget to within $1 of my life. I don't know why it's jumping back there. It's annoying. I don't budget to within $1 of my life. I live well, I travel in style, and I'm a baby boomer. I'm old, bold, but no mold. You like that? This is the apartment I lived in Cambodia. Okay, so I'm just giving you this to give you an idea of what is possible. You can do this. You don't have to live in a rat and cockroach infested flea bag of a hovel. Okay, there's a beautiful pool there. Okay, now how can I afford to do it? Well, I built an online business that pays me well, week after week, month after month. So what I want you to do now is to answer me this one question. Are you ready to step up to the laptop lifestyle? Yes or no? Say yes. Type it in there. Say yes. You are now ready. You've got to be mentally ready. You've also got to be situationally ready. But being mentally ready is most important. Maybe you're not situationally ready. Maybe you haven't got that income thing sorted out. Fine. You can work on that. But get yourself mentally ready. Make the mental commitment to do it. Make the decision to do it, and the wherewithal, the practical steps that you'll need to take, the practical strategies, the practical situation that will need to be in place for you, that will start to happen. But nothing happens until you've made the decision, right? People say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to see my own country. I haven't done it. Why haven't you done it? Well, I don't have any time freedom. I'm a wage slave, or I've got a business and it owns me. I don't own it. It owns me. I say, right. So, but you want to see some of your own country, and you want to visit other countries. Yeah, I really want to do that before I get too old to enjoy it. Right. So, have you made the decision to do it? No. Okay. Well, forget about it. Don't talk to me until you've made the decision. When you've made the decision, then magic will happen. And when I say a decision, I mean a decision, not a wish and a hope, but a decision. When you've made the decision, magic will happen. Have you made the decision yet? Yeah? Great. Not yet? Make the decision. You'll be amazed what will happen if you've made the decision. I'm talking about a full-on decision. No turning back. Now, before I cover each of the listed points, I think it's important to give you some clarity as to whether becoming a global nomad is the right thing to do for you. So this is just something to consider. You need to have mental preparedness. You need to have financial preparedness. You need to consider other stakeholders, and you need to also think about what you leave behind and can you live with that. Okay, so mental preparedness, number one. You need to be mentally prepared. You need to have a flexible, particularly if you're going into other countries. If you're staying within your own country, that's fine. That's possibly a bit easier for you. But if you're going to other countries with other cultures, and particularly if the cultures are radically different to your own, you're first world country now, and then you're wanting to tour. If you're in North America, you're wanting to tour Latin America, for instance, or you're wanting even to go to Europe. Europe is still different to being a Canadian. The culture there is different. The language is different. Going to Asia, different. And Asia is comprised of many different countries, and each one is different in its own right. So you need to be a flexible thinker, and you need to be okay with that. If you're wanting the sort of person that must have an exact duplication of what you had back home, well, you're not ready mentally, because you're not going to get an exact duplication. You can simulate, like I said before, I still eat, European type food and a lot of fruit and veg and all the rest of it, because that's accessible where I am now, because Phnom Penh is becoming increasingly cosmopolitan, because there are a lot of tourists come here to have a look. A lot of expats increasing number of expats are living here as well. So lots of enterprising local businesses will cater to that influx of new people. This city is booming. So, but it's not the same. It's not the same. There's even a massive difference in the climate, because it's hot all the time. Apparently December gets a bit cooler in January, but I came here in February. So it was fairly hot in February, right? So I'm looking for that cool change, because it does sort of wear you down a little bit. Sure, I've got air conditioning, but it's expensive, the power, so I don't have that on 24/7. I just have that on when I'm sleeping at night, Okay, the rest of the time I just use a fan. Okay, because electricity here is quite expensive. So not everything is cheaper than back home, let's say. But look, you've got to be mentally prepared, and you've got to be the sort of person who is interested in other cultures, I think, and prepared to embrace the difference. Okay, mental preparedness. Financial preparedness, obviously that's very important. You've got to have a way of funding your travel. And that could be from investments. Maybe you've got a bunch of money sitting in the bank account. I don't like using money I don't like using up capital if I can avoid it. I prefer to have it funded with income, right? Recurring income. But if you've got money to burn, that could be the way to do it. You don't want to do any work. You don't want to create income. You're just going to dip into your savings, or maybe you've got enough income coming from investments now. Fine, that's great. Problem solved. Problem solved. But obviously, it's something you need to look at. You'll also need to, if you're going to be going away for an extended period of time, let's say at least 3 months. Well, yes, for sure, you're going to need to tidy up some things back home. Insurances, etc. You've got to look at all of that. Who's going to look after your house? Or are you going to sell your house like a lot of us have done? So yeah, financial preparedness, that's an important consideration. Other stakeholders to consider. You're going to be going alone, you're going to go with a partner, a spouse, something like that, or a family member. Hey, they've got to be excited and enthusiastic about it as well. Because if they're not, they will become a kind of a drag for you. And particularly if they're really negative and they're overtly negative, it's going to, well, yeah, it may be a problem. So you've got to enroll people in your vision first. Enroll people in that vision. And if they're on board, great, full steam ahead. If there are other family members that you're going to be leaving behind, well, you've got to tell them why you're doing it and how long you're going away, etc. There will be other stakeholders. With me, I wasn't going to do this whilst my mum was still alive. That was it. And I promised her. She knew that I had a trouble bug, but I promised her that I would not be going away for any extended period of time while she was still alive. I was always going to be there for her. Okay? So that my situation changed. Mentally, I was there, yes, but situationally, I wasn't quite there. All right. But then my situation changed. The other thing is, what do you leave behind? And yeah, that's sort of linked with financial preparedness. You're going to be leaving assets behind, houses, whatever, or are you going to sell them? Who's going to look after them if you do retain them? You've got to look at those sort of things. And you've got to make the adjustment because you know that some of the things that you love about where you live now, you may not have them in your new country. Okay? So once again, mental preparedness is linked to this last point, what you leave behind. But on the positive side, there will be some new things, new experiences that you probably will fall in love with. Okay? So one balances out the other. Maybe some of these new things will more than compensate for what you leave behind. All right. Now, if it sounds too daunting to you, traveling in other countries, as I said, you can stay in your own country and do this. Explore different regions that interest you. My country is a big country, and I have only seen a fraction of it. And I've come to really appreciate that since I've been away. So when I do go back to Australia, I do want to see more of my own country, for sure. But that doesn't mean that I regret traveling to other countries, not for a minute. It's been one of the most enriching experiences, if not the most enriching experiences of my life. I've changed, and I think for the better. But you can stay in your own country, explore different regions that interest you, that you haven't been to before. If you're in the US or Canada, they're big countries. If you're in the UK or something like that, well, there's all of Europe that you can explore. Even in the UK, it's not a big country, but there's probably parts of that country that you haven't seen yet. Remember, the digital nomad strategy works anywhere, even in your own backyard. Okay. Now, which country for you? Let's have a look at this map here. It's a big world, isn't it? It's a big world. So we've got Australia down here. I haven't even been to New Zealand except on a stopover basis, stopping over in Auckland. And I never really had an interest in it, but I kind of like what's happening there. I've been reading about it. I like the government that they've got there. They're a progressive government, not left progressive, but market-oriented progressive, okay? And they've brought in a number of important reforms. Another thing I like about it is the taxation situation is far more favourable there than it is in Australia. So I'm quite interested in that country, but no plans to go there at the moment. Let's move on. Next slide. Living cheap or living like a king? The options. All right, the key points here are backpacking is for the young at heart, or the poor. Staying in luxury hotels is nice, but not sustainable for extended periods of time. Consider instead to install yourself in a location for 6 months or more and rent an apartment or a house. You'll find it a lot cheaper. A lot of benefits when you take that approach. It's cheaper. You can learn more. If you have an interest in other cultures, that is the way to do it. Become kind of like a local person. You can establish worthwhile relationships, not just with the local people, but also you'll meet expats, because in most of the countries that we're talking about here, there are vibrant expat communities, and you can plug into those as well. Okay, the 4-Hour Workweek. This is Timothy Ferris's, this is the cover from Timothy Ferris's blockbuster best-selling book, The 4-Hour Workweek, Escape the 9-to-5, Live Anywhere, and Join the New Rich. And essentially his proposition is that you can set yourself up in such a way that you only need to work 4 hours a week. And you do it with business ideas and so on, and then you outsource all of the mundane tasks, etc. Now, he did it, and I believe other people have done it, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to get to that point. And also, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's desirable to get to that point. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to talk about the downside of the 4-hour workweek concept. It may not be possible to get things to the point where you only work 4 hours a week. It's a big ask. Some people thrive on work. I like work. To me, it's a creative process. And anything that's not creative, I try and outsource anyway. So I can stay on the creative edge as much as possible, because that is fun for me. That's what I look forward to every day. So that's my idea of fun. Now, you know, other people like Timothy Ferris, he wanted to go and do adventuring and all this sort of stuff, and just did the minimum amount of work, making really good money, big money, the way he organized himself. Okay, good luck to him. If you do outsource the mundane and the repetitive tasks as suggested. And if you're running a business, don't outsource vital core functions such as sales and marketing. I put a caveat on that. You can outsource some of it, but ultimately you need to take responsibility for it. Okay, so we're talking sales and marketing. You can outsource some of that, providing that you take responsibility for it and that the people that you outsource it to really know what they're doing. Okay. Now, just as a minor aside here, because this is look, I've got a travel orientation here, people that are attracted to this topic of digital nomad, etc. They're into travel. So if you're expecting like a business opportunity presentation or whatever, well, you've come to the wrong place, because travel is important for me, and I'm looking for other like-minded people who want to do something similar. So I was reading an article recently in a magazine, and it was written by a guy called Dan Andrews, who is the founder and co-host of the Tropical MBA podcast. Now, that's become quite a large movement globally, and essentially it attracts people who are doing what I'm doing. They're digital nomads, they're lifestylers, they're dotcom freaks, okay, and they make their money online and they travel all over the world. and they travel all over the world whilst they're doing so. Now, he has come up with his list, the top 10 lifestyle design cities, 2015. Now, criteria: a good value for money, trends like monthly meetup attendance, migrations like the massive one to Saigon in 2014, inspired by John Myers, popular threads, and so on. So that's part of his criteria. Travel-friendly hubs, availability of short-term housing, visas, etc., co-working and cafe cultures. So this, based on those points, here is his top 10. And as you see there, number 10 is Ubud, whatever, Bali. I went there once, a long time ago. At that point, it was just like a little artist's colony. I guess it's changed quite a lot since then. I should go back. Barcelona, yes, what a glorious, wonderful city that is. Just a cultural feast that has become a big, laptop lifestyle type business. A lot of expats working from Barcelona. Medellin. Now, where is Medellin? I'm going to get you to figure that one out. Medellin. This will test your knowledge of geography. Bangkok. Yeah, of course. The downside, as he said, is with Bangkok is the traffic is horrendous, for sure. And another downside is that it is a very hot city. But what a vibrant, exciting city it is, and there are lots of internet hubs there. Lots of people, expat communities, etc., that you can plug into. Austin, Texas, that's a surprise. Austin, Texas, a lot happening there. Apparently, I have been to Austin on a stopover basis, but that's all. New York City, not surprised there. That's one of the greatest cities on earth. Lots of this sort of action happening there. Saigon, how about that? Number 4, Saigon in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. And there's been an explosion in the number of dotcom lifestylers that have moved to Saigon in the last 12 months. And there's really a lot happening there. I lived there for 8 months myself in 2014. Great city if you don't mind. If you don't mind a lot of motorcycles, and trying to cross the road can be a challenge. There are issues like that, but it is a great city, and it's getting better and better by the day. Chiang Mai, Chiang Mai is sometimes, quite often, has been at number 1 in these type of surveys and opinion pieces and so on. It's number 3 on his list. Chiang Mai in Thailand. I haven't been there, but I'm going there for Christmas, and I'm really looking forward to it. My son tells me it's a great spot. A lot of expats, a big dotcom community there. Okay, Prague where's that? Czechoslovakia, of course. And that's a city I really want to go to. Apparently it's absolutely beautiful, so much history and so on. And then finally, number 1 on his list is Berlin. And that's another great city. Just so much happening there. It's got a tremendous vibe to it. A lot of nightlife, etc. But there's also a big dotcom community there with lots of workstations and so on. So that is his top 10 lifestyle design cities. Moving on, taxation, visas and bureaucrats. To bribe or not to bribe? Now, I added that little question there as a kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, put a smile on your face, hopefully. But look, the reality is that in a lot of these developing countries, there is a fair amount of corruption. It's just the way it happens. Ultimately, it will kind of disappear, I reckon. But not at the moment. Not at the moment. And so what we've got is a situation here where to get things done sometimes you do need to pay some what we might call under-the-counter money. Not for everything, but it's just the reality of life. So I wouldn't get all uptight about it and put on your super moralist hat and all the rest of it. Just go with the flow. It's the way things are done at the moment in many of these countries, and not just in Southeast Asia, or also in many parts of Latin America, even Eastern Europe. Apparently it's rampant over there as well. Now, it doesn't mean to say you can get everything done by paying under-the-counter money. That's not the case. But often, under-the-counter money is what you need to pay to get a given result and get it happening faster. Now, in regard to visas, well, some countries are easier than others in terms of getting a visa is concerned. With my stay in Vietnam, I found that very easy. I used a third-party service, and that enabled me to stay there for 8 months, no problems at all. I bought a quarterly visa and just rolled it over, went back to the service, and they took about 5 days, and I had the new visa. Then early January of 2015, they put the price up for the visas dramatically. I mean, it was like double or triple or something like that. So in protest, I said, right, I'm not paying that. I refuse. So I'm jumping on the bus and going to the next country down the road, which is Cambodia. This is one of the nice things about living in this part of the world, is that you're not that far. You're not far really from another country, another adventure, another culture. So that's what I did. And when I got to Cambodia, I just got a 1 month tourist visa. Decided I liked it. I really liked it. And then I decided that after that I renewed the 1 month, so I got 2 months there, and then I had to leave the country, come back in and get another type of a visa, which was a 12-month business visa. And that was pretty easy. I paid $285. Once again, I used a service to do it. I wouldn't go into a government department and do it. No way. Much easier if you just use a service. Now, and as I say, there's some countries are easier than others about visas. Visas have become a bit more problematic in countries like Thailand, but you can still get a 3-month visa, no problem, but you will have to exit the country in all probability. But look, the countries change their rules. Vietnam is apparently bringing out more onerous visa requirements in very soon, but we'll see what happens there. Other countries such as Malaysia, they've got an amazing setup. When you land at the airport there, it's just incredible how fast it is getting through immigration. It's probably the best I've seen. A very advanced way of treating visitors to their country, let's put it that way. But another option is to get a business kind of visa, or you can, if you've got money like Thailand, you can lodge $30,000+, I think, and with a bank and lock it in, and you can get a longer term visa that way as well. So look, there are different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, it often comes down to money for these countries. So with Vietnam bringing out perhaps more difficult rules very soon, it'll probably revolve around money. So the people with money will be able to get the longer term visas, and the people without won't. Simple as that. So we'll see what happens there. Other countries like the Philippines, I can only get 1 month visas there. When I was there for 6 months, and I have to keep getting a new visa every month. It's a total pain in the neck, and it's quite expensive as well. But I believe there have been some changes since then as well, which may make it somewhat easier. Okay, it's important to have the right arrangements in place read tax, and taxation may be optional in some jurisdictions. So this potentially represents a major advantage for people who are generating income, who do plan to have a business or already have a business, a dotcom type of business, and you just want to do it in different countries. In the situation that we have in some of these Southeast Asian countries, you may find that the taxation arrangements that you come up with will be very favourable for you. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, very favourable for you, and it should put a smile on your face. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to talk any more about the taxation issue in a sort of an open meeting like this, but I'm happy to shoot the breeze with somebody on a one-on-one basis. In terms of bribes to get things done, such as, well, I don't know, you want to get a license to drive a car or something like that, because they won't honour an international license usually. That's just another reason for them to fine you or to bribe you. But so you go and you want to get a proper license. Well, if you go through official channels, it's going to be a nightmare. I can tell you that right now. So you find it's probably easier to just pay someone and they'll get it sorted. Okay, it's a fee for service, as I said before. Don't worry about it. It's just the way things are done. And yeah, they do things differently in other countries. That's for sure. No question about it. Their culture is different to yours. We have to accept that. Health and medical, how to minimise the risks. Now, for longer term stays, travel insurance may not be viable. They don't cover as much for starters. And they're definitely more restrictive in many respects. It may be better to get full-blown health insurance, but as I say there, it costs more money. International health insurance is quite expensive, although you can, in many instances, pay it monthly. You will get better coverage with international health insurance, and it is readily available in most jurisdictions. That said, I do know of at least one expat business person who's living in this country, in Cambodia. He's only 10 minutes away from me, and he just pays his travel insurance. He said, I'm not going to pay for health insurance because it's just far too expensive. So that's just a thought there. Medical facilities in as if you didn't know, in second and third world countries are inferior to the West. Yes, we kind of know that. Although in countries like Thailand, they have first-class medical facilities in Bangkok. That'd be first world medical facilities. So, and that's medical tourism has become quite a big thing for a country like Bangkok. Korea is another one. South Korea, medical tourism. It's become quite a growth industry. I know that the Philippines are trying to get some of it themselves. I would probably say that the medical facilities aren't as good in the Philippines compared to, say, Thailand or Malaysia, and of course Singapore is right up there with the best in the world. But they do have Philippines really does have a professional class of people who take pride in their expertise and know-how and so on. So, let's not, even though there's a hell of a lot of poverty in the Philippines, the fact is that there is a professional class of people there, and they're pretty good at what they do. And there are a few of the hospitals there have some of the best equipment that money can buy. Okay, know yourself. This is a really important one. Question for you. Will you worry about what's happening back home? Will you? Well, if you think you're the sort of person who will worry, well, do what you can to eliminate potential problems. So if you've got property back there, well, make sure it's well managed. Okay, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? If you've got other financial affairs that you need to attend to, well, do it. Insurances, pay them up for a year so you don't have to worry about it. Things like that. So just using common sense, you don't need me to list it all out for you, but if you can address the root cause of the problem, well, maybe you won't be doing any worrying when you finally do decide to start doing this travel thing. Okay, see if you can sort of develop a kind of a workaround there, and that should work fine. Do you relish change in new environments? Will you embrace different cultures and cuisines? As I said before, you don't have to eat the local food all the time, because the supply of Western type foods is abundant in virtually all of these countries. So you can still construct or kind of replicate more or less what you eat back home anyway. But you probably want to try some of the local cuisine anyway, and perhaps eat it several times a month. It will be cheaper generally than buying Western type foods. So you can live very, very cheaply in these countries. There's no doubt about it. Will you embrace different cultures? I think it's a matter of striking a balance, you know. I love to say hi to local Cambodian people every day, and but it doesn't mean to say that they're going to become my best buddies because of language differences or language difficulties. That's not going to happen in all probability. But I just want to be friendly. I want to be an observer of their culture, and I take photos, I take video, I take notes. I'm really into it. But that said, I do like to meet Western people as well, if for no other reason than we can converse in one language, okay? A language that I'm very familiar with. So, and you can do that if you really go to one of these hub-type countries. There will be plenty of expats that you can talk to, and some of them may be in a similar business to yourself, and they're online, they're making money online, and you can meet some great people and pick up some great ideas, okay? Are you flexible? Can you roll with the punches? So it's important to know yourself, know thyself. If you're a very rigid kind of a thinker, well, maybe you're going to run into trouble, because sooner rather than later, you're going to start complaining that things aren't exactly the way they are back home and all that sort of stuff. But look, travel can be a great broadener, or it can confirm your own existing prejudices. Know thyself, know what sort of person you are. I hope you're in the former group. Okay. Now, let's talk about habits. What I've got here is pretty much common sense. Being in a foreign country doesn't mean you can just forget all the common sense codes of behaviour that apply in your home country. Do not overindulge regularly. Now, I put this in here because it's such a freeing thing to go into another country. You're leaving behind the old world. You're leaving behind a lot of the social mores and restrictions that are kind of placed on us when we're living in our home country. And we tend to conform. And when we go to another country, particularly if it's a developing country, we see that things are very, very different. We see that people doing things that you wouldn't even dare to do back home. Okay? And so you kind of throw off the shackles a bit. And what I've noticed is that some people just throw off too many of those shackles. Okay? They just go crazy with it, with all this freedom. And some of them get into some really bad habits. They eat too much, they drink too much, they take illicit drugs. Women, of course, that's part of it. And what I try and do is, that's another reason why I like to stay put for at least 6 months in one area, because I want to get my habits, my good habits, re-established as quickly as possible. And I think that's really good advice. We need to have those routines and those good habit procedures in place all the time, virtually. And I find that sort of acts as it stops me from succumbing to temptation, put it that way. Okay? So I get into my routines, and that's to do with healthy living and so on. I do drink, but I'm moderate, very moderate. I eat a lot of fruit and veg, 80% vegetarian, and so I just don't want to indulge. I respect my body too much, and that's the way you want to be. Yeah, you do, because you can. I've seen expats here, and they are in a mess. They think they're happy, but they're not. They're not, and they're going to die young. They are, or younger than they probably would have died if they'd, stayed on the straight and narrow, for sure. So just watch out for that. It's a real problem with people. Some people who come to these countries, and also don't go crazy on the motorbikes and all the rest of it, because it's easy to get into an accident, and then it can be absolutely diabolical what happens from there. So look, just use common sense. If you don't listen to anything else that I say on this presentation, listen to that one. Listen to this one. Take my advice. because I know what I'm talking about, and I've seen the downside. Unfortunately, I haven't been part of that downside, but as a spectator, as a witness, I've seen the downside, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But look, no doubt, it's a great thing to feel free, or freer than maybe you were back home. Just one thing about the road rules: Australia is like a police state when it comes to driving a car. It's really bad. I think it's really bad. Of course, Australians are generally very conservative people, so most of them think it's great. But I don't. I just don't like it. And it's so when you come to countries like in Asia and so on, they don't have any of these sorts of rules. So that's just one example of what I'm talking about. Okay, and there are all sorts of other examples too. They're much more relaxed about, prostitution and even gay people and all that. It's just not. It's just they don't care about it. It's just nothing. They really don't care about it. Okay, so you come into an environment like that and think, wow, I'm just going to go crazy here. Well, all I'm saying is just pull back a little bit from that and get into those routines as quickly as you can, and let discipline be imposed on yourself. Okay, next one, staying connected even if you're a long way from home. This one's pretty obvious. The world is smaller now, so you use Skype, Viber, buy some Skype credits. So if you need to contact somebody for your business, you can do it. Then they may not be hooked up on Skype with you, so if you've got their phone number, you can just phone them using Skype credits. You can pay about $15 for a bunch of Skype credits, which works great. I use it regularly. Hardly a day goes by when I don't use Skype. Use Facebook, so you can make your friends back home green with envy when they see your travel shots and all of that. Put it up on your wall, but also keep talking with people via the chat facility. So that's all I need to say there. Okay, leverage your skill. Leverage your skill. Do you have a skill, passion, or interest? That's a really important question to think about, because if you do, chances are you can turn it into an income stream. Isn't that exciting? Because you may find that the skill that you already have has some commercial application. There may be some people who are prepared to pay for your knowledge, your skill, your expertise, whether it be technical skill, creative skill, sporting skill. You may be able to leverage those skills into income streams, one or more income streams. Think about that. If you don't have a skill, or you don't value your skill, well, think about your passions and your interests. Maybe you can create a new income stream as a result of leveraging your passions and interests. So another key question is this: does it have the potential to be profitable? Is it commercial? Can you turn it into a money spinner? And the main thing that I'm thinking about initially is become consulting. Become a consultant, a coach, a trainer. Great place to start. Great way to create income, and maybe do it even before you go on this adventure that we're talking about here. Do it part-time, hold down your job, keep doing it. Build up a client base. Are you a self-starter? Are you creative? You don't have to be creative if you're a technical person. You don't have to be creative. But in some other niches, categories, you may need to be creative. Being a self-starter is really important, obviously. Some people just, I don't know, they're only productive when they've got a boss kind of looking over their shoulder. They need the structure of a company, of an employer's business, right? They need that structure. Of course, when you become self-employed, you don't have that structure. So you have to be a self-starter. Are you? Yes or no? Are you comfortable with technology? Now, you don't have to become a technological genius when it comes to generating income online. Not at all. But you do need to be comfortable with the basic concepts of internet usage. You pick up things fairly quickly. You don't need to be an overly technical person, but it certainly helps if you're comfortable with the internet and with computers. Okay? Do you have good communication skills? That's another important thing. If you're going to attract clients, you need to have good communication skills, and those skills can be imparted to potential customers via the written word, via video, via live talks with people over the phone, whatever. But you need to have good communication skills to attract people, if at all possible. There are ways around it, but ideally you would have that. Now, options. Consider creating an online course and marketing it. You could do that. A low-cost course where you're leveraging your skill and then you market that course. But as I said before, I think in many respects the best way to start is just to sell consulting. Consulting, coaching, training. That's it. Trading time for dollars, yes. Although you can package up some services. You can develop a value-added package and sell your services with via those packages, and you can add other elements into the package, so it's not completely trading time for dollars type work. You could include, for instance, email support for 90 days. Most people don't even use email support, most clients, but it looks good, so you can add that to your package. Okay, but the core of it will be maybe consulting sessions, training sessions, or something like that. So if you are good at something now, chances are you can turn it into a money spinner. That's the point I'm making. Providing it's commercial, and you may not think it's commercial, talk to me. I might be able to show you how it can be made commercial. Okay. You can also offer done-for-you services. You know, I've taken on consulting assignments in the past, and I still take them on when I have the time. And yeah, I can consult with people. I give them recommendations. I say, all right, this is what you need to do. Do this, do this, do this, do this, etc. Spell it out for them. Give it to them in black and white on paper as well. And then talk to them again a month later. How have you gone with those action steps? How's it going? Oh, I haven't done anything yet. Oh, why is that? Well, things got in the way. It was all too hard. It's not comfortable for people sometimes. So I now offer done-for-you services. And my specialty is helping skilled people find clients so they can create a self-employed income. And they can do it anywhere in the world. So that's my skill set. Okay? So I said, well, okay, what about if I put together a done-for-you program and we'll actually help you find the clients? We'll do some or even a lot of the grunt work to find some clients for you, so that you can just focus on what you really do best and what you love to do, and that is leveraging your skill to help clients get a great result in whatever field it is. Okay, so done-for-you services, even within your area of speciality, could be quite viable. Could be quite viable for you. Done-for-you services works well because most people find it hard to implement. Seek contracting work with Upwork or Fiverr. Now, if you don't want to be involved in the client acquisition process, what you can do is that you can offer your skill to platforms such as Upwork.com or Fiverr.com, and because they already have clients. Okay, they already have clients who are looking for these services to be performed. So, understanding that, you could offer contracting. You could offer your services to these middlemen kind of platforms, and you know they may have some clients for you who are happy to buy, happy to pay you for your time. The downside of it is that, well, there's two downsides. The first downside is you never really learned how to find a client, which to me is a really important skill to have. The second downside, and this is a big one, is that you won't get top dollar. You won't get paid top dollar for your time. Whereas if you take control of the client acquisition process yourself, you will. You will be able to pay top dollar, and I'll share with you how to do it in a second. So that's the downside. But if you don't want to take any responsibility for the acquisition side of things, the client acquisition side of things, all right, well you can take up that option there. Okay. Now, just before I finish that point, just let me say this: that people say, well, how do I find customers? I'm not a salesman, and most people are not salespeople. Most people they're good at what they do, as I've said. They're not that great at sales and marketing, and they feel uncomfortable in the role of a salesperson. Well, this is what I say. If I was working with you, here's what I would do. I would package you up as an expert. I'd probably create a blog for you. I'd get my designer to, create a nice header and a nice design for the blog, etc. I'd get some content organized so that people who visit will see that the blog is active, it's current, and there's some really good information on there. Because when a potential client is evaluating somebody, they're thinking about doing business with that person, they want information. They do. And they want hard information, good information, valuable information that adds value to them. Information that helps them decide if you are the right person to deal with. So I would be doing going through a positioning process, so that we position you as a kind of authority in your niche, even if you don't feel you are right now. Okay, so that's the first thing. That is the foundation. Once you've got the foundation in place, then what I would be doing is implementing traffic and lead generation strategies designed to have people approach you rather than you approaching them. Okay, and if you didn't want to talk to them, well, maybe we could work something out where we do some of the initial talking for you. But if I was working with somebody like that, that's kind of what I would do. Every job is different. Every situation is different. So I can't say absolutely that this would be the precise way to do it for somebody like you. But certainly at the core there, some sort of a branding, authority positioning type of a program would need to be in place, because we don't want people to think that you're a salesperson, because that devalues you, that devalues your brand. We want people to think that you are competent, that you are an expertise, that you are an expert, and that you are good at what you do. Okay, so we have to strike. It's a balancing act. We have to strike the balance here. Sure, we want to attract clients, but we don't want to do it in a salesy type of a way. You understand what I'm talking about here? Hope it makes sense. Okay, let's move on and look at a couple of other options. One is network marketing. We hear about this all the time. I'm not really a network marketer. I'm not about sort of hustling family and friends so they can buy a bottle of vitamins and all the rest of it. But look, you may be able to do it, but I think it is a bit more problematic if you are traveling and you're away from your home country and you're away from your local community, because the traditional network marketing is really about that. It's about face-to-face, going to meetings and all that sort of stuff. So, but it may be possible to do it. I don't know. I just offer it there as an idea. Okay. If you're really into network marketing and let's say you're working you want to spend some time in Thailand, for instance, in Bangkok, or Chiang Mai. Well, there's a big expat community there, so you could perhaps meet people there and do your network marketing thing amongst that community. But look, the other approach is affiliate marketing, which I'm much more comfortable with. And I started affiliate marketing in 2006, and I made 6 figures in my first year, and part-time, and I couldn't believe it. And the way I did it was that I did it mainly by promoting big ticket products. Now I take a more of a balanced approach. I also promote small ticket products, which can all sometimes lead to big ticket sales as well. Okay, but the money is in the big ticket. That's where the money is. So you're looking for products that sell for $1,000, $2,000, even $10,000, and they're products that have not been developed by you. And that's why they call it affiliate marketing. You just become an affiliate. You need to learn how to drive traffic and generate inquiries, okay? But if there's a good offer and they've got a good sales funnel built, that's the approach that I would be taking. I'd be doing affiliate marketing, looking for companies that have got a really good sales funnel. They might lead with a small ticket product, and they've got a really good upsell kind of pathway, more or less done for you. If you can get a situation happening where the upsells are done for you, you only take responsibility for the sale of the initial small ticket product, that is marketing heaven, okay? That is marketing heaven. So this is another option for you if you don't have a skill that you want to that you can market, or you do have a skill but you just don't want to market it. Well, affiliate marketing is the other main option. It's the other main option. Choose your poison. I do both because I can do both. I'm not part-time anymore. This is what I do. I do internet work. I make money online. I don't have a day job. So I've got more time to straddle both boats, if you like. So yeah, I do leverage my skill, and I take on clients and I help them with their own marketing because my skill set is sales and marketing. But I also continue to be an affiliate marketer. I don't want to develop all these other products, so I'm happy to promote their product, their opportunity, their business model in return for big ticket commissions that pay $1,000 and upwards. So that's another option for you. Think about it. That completes the presentation. And just sort of kind of finishing, just one extra point there on the money side, the generating income side of things. I just want to say that tens of thousands of people are now living the laptop lifestyle. They're traveling, they're nomads, and they're generating income online similar to myself. So it's not just me anymore. It's not just a few hundred people here and there. It's becoming a movement. It's a movement. It started as a trickle, now it's become a movement. But what you need to do is decide whether you are ready for it. Maybe you are emotionally and mentally ready for it, but situationally you're not. You're not ready to do the move because you've got too much going on back home. Fine. Why not get started some sort of an income stream project on the side? See if you can get that happening before you start doing the nomad thing, the digital nomad, the global nomad thing. See if you can make it work. And then if you can get the income up to a level that's similar to what you're earning in your day job, all right, now you have an option, don't you? You have a new vista, a new window opening up for you. So think about that. That could be a really viable thing to do. Get the income thing worked out now. Get the money thing happening now. Sort out your other affairs as you need to. And then when your income is at that point where it's really viable, all right, do it. Do it. So where to from here? Well, if you wanted to get more ideas on how to create an income stream based on the main strategies I covered, reach out. I'm going to include, I don't do this very often, but I'm going to include a free 30 minutes pure content, no pitch consultation, no sales pitch consultation. That's the $250 bonus. I'm going to include that for a limited time. Now, we could cover topics such as how to package an existing skill and create an income stream from it, how to profit from your passions and interests, how to profitably leverage the internet, the finer points of affiliate marketing, how to generate traffic and leads, and how to sell stuff online even if you've never sold a thing in your life. I should have added another bullet point, and that is how to get other people to find clients for you. That's a really good little topic. Now, I'm not going to cover all of these topics during the consultation, but this just gives, I'll cover the topics that are most important to you. But the key thing with the consultation is that I can customize strategies for you. I can't do that in a broad brush general discussion as I've been having on this presentation. I can only do that in a one-on-one context. Okay, so if you're up for it, I'm happy to put aside some time, give you some great ideas. You'll probably get very excited at the end of that consultation. You'll love it. I have a few spots available only over the next week or so, probably the next 8 days, something like that. I've allocated some time, not a huge amount of time, because I'm busy with my other projects, but I'll put aside some time just for you. It's my gift to you. I guarantee you'll get value from it, and all sorts of possibilities and doors can open up for you from there. Lock one in right now. And you do it here. You just go to timewithkimbo.com. Kimbo is my nickname. timewithkimbo.com. That's it. You'll see a form there, fill it out, and we'll be in touch and organize a time. Okay? timewithkimbo.com. Do it. Questions. Okay, now we've got some questions. And I'm just going to pick two because I'm running a little bit short of time. I picked the two most important ones. Okay, here's one. How do you choose the right affiliate offer or program? Well, that's a good question. There's no foolproof method. There isn't. But I've done pretty well. So I've worked with three main ones over the last 9 years. And I've made money from all of them. And basically what I did was that, sure, I do Google searches and all the rest of it, but I made it my business to talk to at least one or two people who were making money from it. I picked their brains. I don't want to talk to the people who aren't making money. They don't interest me. I want to talk to the winners. And I want to find out what it is about them that sets them apart. I found that extremely helpful. So that's probably best advice, really. I mean, another thing to look at is their sales funnel. And if maybe you've experienced it, go through it yourself. See how they structure it. Does it get you excited? Because they need to have a funnel that converts. Because ideally, you just want to make, as an affiliate, just a small initial sale, driving traffic to a small offer, and then their funnel and their upsell back end will do the rest of it for you, the upsells. That's ideal. So look closely at their funnel. Last question, do you need to be a sales type? Well, I think I kind of answered that earlier. Whether you're going to leverage a skill and become a consultant, coach, that type of thing, the answer is no, you don't need to be a sales type. It helps if you can actually communicate with people, of course, but in a natural and genuine and authentic way, not in a salesish way. In fact, I think it's a downside if you're too sales oriented. I think it's better just to be natural and authentic. So the answer is no. As an affiliate marketer, do you have to be a sales type? Even then I'd say no. You do need to learn some marketing skills for sure, but you can learn those skills. You don't need to be a salesman per se. You don't need to do that at all. In fact, there are some programs, there's one that I'm involved with, where they'll do all the phoning for you if you want it. I mean, you can do the calling of leads, etc., but if you want them to do it, you won't make quite as much money, but they'll do that for you. So all you have to do is take responsibility for the front end, which is traffic and lead generation, which is very much a mechanical process. No real talent required. All right, okay, that's they're the two questions I wanted to feature today. Don't forget the consultation offer, limited time only. I've got a countdown on it. timewithkimbo.com. Go there now, make your request for a consultation, and we'll be in touch as soon as we can. All right, this is Kim Willis. Bye for now.